So, I wanted to make a journal entry because I'm just kind of blown away that I have gotten the opportunity to experience some mind blowing healing. Um, I just had gone over a timeline of some major breakthroughs and when they happened, what I felt, what occurred after. And I'm finally at the point where I never thought I'd get, which is I've actually can say that I've released the biggest roots of pain that I have been holding on to. And I've have tangible moments and that I can remember of exactly that what occurred in that experience. And now I'm moving on to actually being able to break free of my trauma responses. So I don't have to um I'm not looking through the eyes of a hurt little girl anymore. So this is going to be huge with relationships. I was listening to Gabor Mate, sorry, Dr. Gabor Mate, and I could relate so much to when he spoke, what he was speaking on. And he's a doctor, he studied and other people about and experienced his own trauma and addiction. And I have fully gone through all those things. And the first thing, like, so he went through that stuff, but he's still saying he hasn't actually released the grief. He hasn't grieved. He's still holding on to that stuff. And it just gave me a few feelings. Number one, it made me feel really proud of myself for having the courage to feel the release of that pain. The biggest one, and the one that took the most courage, was the one where I forgave Ian because it was unexpected. Whereas the other ones, when I forgave Mom, it was it wasn't about me. It was about her. And so, I don't know, it was fulfilling. I felt this just joy flood through me of after I wept for her and begged God for her to be able to feel what I felt. I was able to release and let go of all that sadness and all the anger and everything I had built up against what she was not able to give to me as a mom. But when it came to Ian and it having to do with my hurt and my baby girl, whom I felt honestly before that I had no type of, I didn't deserve it. I didn't do anything that should initiate going through all this. So not only was it that I had the hurt of not having my daughter with me, I had the hit to my ego and pride of being a mother and explaining to people for years why my daughter doesn't live with me and that she lives in South Florida with her dad. And then the real kicker on top of all the rest of it was the child support that I could not afford. And I was too paralyzed with fear to even move when it came to that. And now, 10 years later, that is has financially crippled me. And it has just, I have felt like I was on the run for the last 10 years because I have felt like I was constantly trying to dodge. I don't even know what it was. I guess the hurt, but ironically, it was inside of me the whole time. And when I was finally able to accept that I really was blind to how my unresolved pain and my wounds from my past were blurring my perspective, how they were, my CPTSD was affecting my judgment. It was affecting my ability to handle any kind of conflict. I mean, I thought I was such a warrior. I'm so strong. And I became really good at being a compulsive caretaker because I really ultimately became really good at making people like me, at proving that I was valuable, at also at being so desperate for that approval and so desperate to feel secure or loved or chosen by a man, or really it was a man, because I had other friendships, but it was like that was the one thing I couldn't get. And I realized that that goes back to my dad. I was abandoned. I thought that it happened when I was so little. I was 3. I don't remember. And I was naive enough to think that it couldn't have affected me. My entire life, I've consciously thought, and I do believe that this was also a spiritual attack. This was how the enemy held me down for so long. Because not only it's not that I was just oblivious to it, but I was very much in the other realm of thinking. And there we go. I was very confident that it actually had nothing to do with it, that I didn't feel the loss of not having a dad. I didn't know any different. And that clearly wasn't the case. I'm sure, I'm sure that I felt his absence. I'm sure, but I didn't have words at that point. I was too young. So my memory didn't keep that around. But now, not only do I get to say that I am healed, I confidently know. And the reason I know that is because I have experienced evidence of that. I just read through my notes the night that had the moment of feeling the release of forgiveness for my mom, the release of blame, and the release of judgment on her for not being a mom that I needed her to be. And while I felt the power of my words and honored that, they didn't make me sad. It didn't, it didn't feel bad. Um, and I used to feel really bad for that little girl. And now I don't get as triggered. And if I do start to, it is still kind of new, but when I start to feel that way, I remind myself that I am not alone. I am okay. I'm very capable, and I can I can figure it out.